Happy Sunday, my brother.
Good morning, buddy. Hope everybody had a nice holiday weekend. And we're picking up at the biggest section, the biggest rule in the book. So we're going to have to, break off, when it makes sense. Try to get through section by section. Just take our time. This is going to be super important. And I'll read the intro if you want, and then you want to start at after that. That'll be cool.
Let's do it. So we're on page 271 in the blue book, 126 on the PDF you can find online.
Yeah. All right. So rule 10. As the waters bathe the form created, they are absorbed and used. The form increases in its strength. Let the magician thus continue until the work suffices. Let the outer builders cease their labors then, and let the inner workers enter on their cycle. So rule 10 consists of thought form building, the centers, energies, and rays, which is that's awesome. Astral energy and fear, the right use of energy, the present age and the future, the founding of the hierarchy, the new group of world servers, and astrology and energies. So this is going to be pretty
yeah, and it makes sense why this rule is so long. It's got a lot of important subsections in it, so it's probably worth us taking this. It's good that we can take these in bite-sized chunks so that folks can really hear this and look back through it.
Yeah, and I think this gets pretty in depth. He gives us, he literally tells us how to do this, and this thought form building, and
right.
Hugely important. So whenever you're ready, sir.
Yeah, let me excuse me. Let my throat a little bit. Thought form building. In Rule 10, 2 facts about the form are stated, which are true of all forms, and 3 strong injunctions are given in the following terms. The facts are: 1, the form absorbs and uses the waters in which it is immersed. Fact 2, as a result, it grows in strength. The 3 injunctions are: 1, let the magician go on building his form until its adequate potency is assured. 2, then let the outer builders cease from labor. And 3, let the inner builders enter on their cycle. We have seen how, in the process of thought form building, the time came when the form had to be oriented in the right direction and set upon the proper path in order to carry out its creator's will and purpose. This takes place fairly early in the work, and after the process of orientation, the work of building proceeds, for the thought form is not yet ready for an independent life. There is a true analogy between the gestation period of an infant and that of a thought form. The importance of the right placement of the child within the womb is never overlooked by a good physician, and where there is analogously a wrong position upon the path to be followed into manifested existence, death and trouble often ensue. The analogy is close, as you well know. Birth is preceded by the breaking of the waters in medical parlance. And before the thought form brings about the desired results on the physical plane, there comes to a similar reaction. The waters of desire become so potent as to cause precipitation and the consequent appearance of the desired form of expression. Let us take the facts and analogies as they stand and study them from the standpoint both of the macrocosm and the microcosm. We note that the form absorbs and uses the substance wherein it is immersed. Our solar system is one of many, and not the greatest. It constitutes a fragment of a greater whole. This greater whole, formed of 7 parts, or 7 solar systems, is itself immersed in the waters of space is born of desire and therefore a child of necessity. It draws its life from its surroundings. Streaming into our solar system from all sides are force currents, emanating from what a treatise on cosmic fire calls the one about whom naught may be said. These currents embody his will and desire, express his love or attractive capacity, and manifest as the great thought form we call our system. In parentheses, it is well to note that this existence is termed the one about whom naught may be said, not because of secrecy or mystery, but because all formulation of ideas about his life and purpose are impossible until one has completed the term of evolution in our solar system. Note, I say our solar system, not just our planetary existence. Speculation about the existence who, through his life, informs 7 solar systems is wasted energy. On our planet, only such great lives as the Buddha, the Kumaras, and the planetary logos are beginning to sense the dynamic impulse of the greater whole, and even they are only sensitive to it, but are, as yet, utterly unable to conceive of its trend, for it lies beyond mind and love and will. It brings into play factors for which we have no terms and tendencies, which are as yet not even remotely visioned on our planet.
And that's absolutely incredible. Oh man, so much there too. I as we're going through that, I see, the source, the one source where the rays are stem from, I suppose, and then how this is all broken out, and we can't even know that yet. It's unbelievable. I mean, literally, right?
Yeah.
Can't even begin to speculate. But you can, but in a sense, we can see the journey in that, right? How long and intense, how intense that can be, working our way all the way out of the planetary system, and then all the way, out all the way to grasp that. Unbelievable, man. That's
We're
really,
a part of something much, much bigger than most people ever even really
man,
fathom.
we're hearing this from the masters and they have no clue.
Right.
DK can't even express it yet.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. I mean, that's beautiful though.
Yeah. We have generated a term we call the ether. Occultly speaking, this is the modern way of expressing the waters of space, which are the waters of desire in which we are immersed. It is in constant ebb and flux and is the stream of life constituted of 49 types of energy, which pours through the cosmic egoic lotus and radiating forth from it feeds with its measure of sustenance the form, solar, planetary, or human, for which it is responsible. This is dealt with in the Treatise on Cosmic Fire. Man is immersed in forces which are to him as the waters of space are to the solar system. He finds himself, as does our sun and its attendant planets, forming part of a whole. And just as our system is but one of 7 systems drawn together to form the body or manifested expression of a life, so is the human kingdom of which he is an infinitesimal part, one of 7 kingdoms. Infinitesimal part, okay. So we're an infinite part of the 7 kingdoms. These are the correspondences in the life of the planetary logos to the 7 solar systems. When he begins to sense the life of the solar logos as it expresses itself through the 7 planetary schemes, we will have touched the consciousness of the planetary logos of our special scheme, who is sensing somewhat the united vibrations of the lives of the 7 solar logi. Bringing the analogy down closer still, the human kingdom itself is an analogous state, is an analogous state of consciousness to the human unit through its subjective force existence, and from the standpoint of consciousness provides the waters of space in which a human being thrives and grows. Again, we are met in the fourth kingdom with expressions of the same seven forces, and as man awakens to a recognition of the seven rays or types and begins to work consciously with them, he is taking the first step towards transcending them and controlling them within his field of operation. This is now taking place. Knowledge of the seven ray types is beginning to permeate among the thinkers of the race, and this knowledge was in past eons the prerogative of the initiates of the time. Held latent in the astrological presentation is that information which will lead disciples to realization and which will put them en rapport with the seven planetary schemes. Real developments in astrology may not be looked for. However, until the new age is really with us and the new orientation achieved.
Hey, so you remember how we were talking about astrology being the foundational, right? And it's been in us, and we share that lineage of astrology, right? Well, maybe, just maybe, back behind the astrology, this is all the rays, and the knowledge of the rays is also found. Well, I'm not saying it. It appears that it is also foundational and part of our lineage. So we can look at it like a system. You know, it's the system. This is it. We got astrology and we got the rays creating the foundation for, for what works. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna just throw that out there. Seems pretty interesting.
Lost my space.
The form of humanity is completed.
Oh, okay, there it is. The form of humanity is completed. Its right placement within the womb of matter is the objective of the hierarchy, with all the consequent implications. Note these words. The need at this time is terrific, and the soul is at the birthing in humanity as a whole. Cosmically speaking, if right direction of the forces of the human kingdom is now achieved, there will be manifested on the earth humanity which will manifest a purpose, a beauty, and a form which will be full expressions of an inner spiritual reality and in line with egoic purpose. Other eventualities can be sensed as sadly possible, but these we will not consider, for it is the hope and the belief of the watching brothers that men will transcend all undesirable eventualities and make the goal. One word here and one hint. The hierarchy of the planet constitutes symbolically the head center of humanity, and their forces constitute the brain forces. On the physical plane are a large band of aspirants, probationary disciples, and accepted disciples who are seeking to be responsive to the head center, some consciously, others unconsciously. They are gathered from all fields of expression, but are all creative in some way or other. They in their turn constitute what might be symbolically called the pineal gland of humanity. As in individual man, this is usually dormant and asleep. So in humanity, this group of cells within the brain of the body corporate is dormant, but thrilling to the vibrations of the head center, the occult hierarchy. Some of the cells are awake. Let them intensify their endeavor and so awaken others. The pioneers of the human family, the scientists, thinkers, and artists constitute the pituitary body. They express the concrete mind, but lack that intuitive perception and idealism, which would place them, symbolically speaking, in the pineal gland. They are nevertheless brilliant, expressive, and investigating. The objective of the hierarchy, again symbolically speaking, is to make the pineal gland so potent and therefore so attractive that the pituitary body of cell lives may be stimulated and thus a close interplay be brought about. This will lead to such potent action that there will be a streaming forth of new cells to the pineal gland, and at the same time such a strong reaction set up that the entire body will be affected, resulting in the streaming upward of many stimulated lives to take the places of those who are finding their way into the center of hierarchical endeavor. The waters of space in which this reorientation and reversal of tendencies is progressing are in a state of violent turmoil. The vortex of conflicting desire in which men find themselves is now chaotic and so potent that these waters are stirred to the very depths. Students of modern history and of social order are faced with an unprecedented condition corresponding in the corporate body of humanity to that upheaval in the life of an individual aspirant, which always precedes the passing onto the path of discipleship. Hence, there is no cause for depression or undue anxiety, but only ardent desire that the transition may be made in due time and order, and be neither too rapid, hence destructive to all right ties and affiliations, nor too prolonged, and so strain beyond endurance the sorely tired fabric of humanity. All new manifestations in all kingdoms in all ages must come slowly, and therefore safely, to the birthing. All new forms, if they are ultimately to carry weight and gather adequate momentum to carry them through their life cycle, must be built in silent subjectivity, in order that the building may be strong and sure, and the inner contact with the Creator, human or divine, and true conformity to the pattern may be substantial and unbreakable. This is true of a universe, a kingdom in nature, or a thought form created by a human thinker. Any thoughts there?
As we're going through, I see that, the ether must necessarily include polarity if it's in a state of turmoil, right? So there must be a polarity there as well, positive and negative ether. And that's pretty deep. And that would make sense as we're operating in reflections. So of course, everything has its polarity, right? So I thought it was really interesting that the thinkers and scientists make up the pituitary, symbolically. And then as those thinkers get the hint or pick up on the esoteric nature or subjective side of this whole thing, then it seems that it will take on a much more potent. It will have a much more potent world, because right now they're focused, primarily on the material, right? Even though they're brilliant, but as soon as that, then that seems like it would be pretty close for them to see the spiritual side, or the subjective and the esoteric. Then once that happens, there's going to be a huge shift if science makes the shift, and if all like the world thinkers and make the shift, this can be a different place pretty quickly. So
well, I think we're starting to see some signs of that too.
Yeah, it's just
with
it takes time, right?
Yeah, because we're seeing a lot of scientific based proof behind some of these, like the whole consciousness aspect.
Yeah, even psychology too. Psychology admits to the the body, mind, and all the what are the three that they always say? Body, mind, and spirit. What are the but they admit to that even, right? So it's just like, all right, well, come on, we got to get the hint now. You already know the answer.
Right.
But when the timing is right, I guess it will be right. Not,
Right, and that's good. At least of that in here too. No cause for depression or undue anxiety. The ardent desire that the transition may be made is in due time and in order, and be neither too rapid nor too prolonged. So we don't want to be so quick that we destroy it all in the process. But at the same
it's very
time,
wild. Yeah.
we don't want to prolong the process. Yeah.
It's very wild that the hierarchy, symbolically constitutes the pineal gland too. And all these reflections and all of the patterns and all of, all the cycles, and they just continued, all the reflections of as above, so below, and the microcosm, macrocosm. We're just adding a larger understanding of it, because that's what it is in some aspect. You just have to know how it comes together.
Right.
Picture. I mean, that's amazing I can't imagine to have all of that available, honestly, to know that inside your being, but it's amazing. You want me to read some?
Oh,
you only got
I'll keep going.
All right.
In all form building, the technique of construction remains basically the same, and the rules and realizations may be summed up in the following aphoristic phrases. Let the creator know himself to be the builder and not the building. Let him desist from dealing with the raw material on the physical plane, and let him study the pattern and the blueprints, acting as the agent of the divine mind. Let him use two energies and work with three laws. These are the dynamic energy of purpose, conforming to the plan, and the magnetic energy of desire, drawing the builders to the center of endeavor. Let these three laws hold sway. Let the law of synthetic limitation, of vibratory interplay, and of active precipitation. The one concerns the life, the second concerns the building, and the third produces manifested existence. Let him deal first with the outer builders, sending his call to the periphery of his circle of influence. Let him set the waters of living substance in motion by his idea and impulse, bending the builders to his purpose and plan. Let him build with judgment and with skill, preserving always the stool of the director and coming not down into close contact with his thought form. Let him project in time and space his form through visualization, meditation, and skill in action, and so produce that which his will commands, his love desires, and his need creates. Let him withdraw the builders of the outer form, and let the inner builders of dynamic force push it forth into manifestation. Through the eye of the creator are these inner builders brought to functioning, directed action. Through the word of the creator were the outer builders guided. Through the ear of the creator, the volume of the greater word vibrates through the waters of space. Let him remember the order of creative work. The waters of space respond to the word. The builders build. The cycle of creation ends, and the form is adequate in manifestation. The cycle of performance succeeds and depends for its duration on the potency of the inner builders, who constitute the subjective form and transmit the vitalizing life. Let him remember that the cessation of the form ensues when purpose is achieved, or when impotency of will produces failure of functioning in the cycle of performance. Students would do well to study these cycles of creative building, of performance, and of subsequent disintegration. They are true of a solar system, of a human being, and of the thought forms of a creative thinker. The secret of all beauty lies in the right functioning of these cycles. The secret of all success on the physical plane lies in right understanding of law and order. For the aspirant, the goal of his endeavor is the correct building of forms and mental matter, remembering that as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. That for him, the control of mental substance and its use in clear thinking is an essential to progress.
Dude,
This
I gotta tell you, man, this is so unbelievable.
mhm,
This part right here. This becomes incredibly subtle, and it points to the subtleties of the mind's ability and the need for us to control our emotions and physical and mental natures on the subtlest of levels here in order to create along with the plan. Bro, did you see this? And let him remember that the cessation of the form ensues when purpose is achieved. All right. All right. So let's just look at that for 1 second. Let him remember that the cessation of the form, cessation being letting go, right?
mhm,
So that would be a good, that's a good aspect of when the purpose is achieved. We can let go of it, right? Or when impotency of will produces failure of functioning in the cycle of performance. Dude, that means, or when you succeed or when you fail.
mhm.
So it's, man, that is so incredible. The depths of that alone. And I
Hmm.
mean, that's just what I picked up on as I'm going. I wasn't able to contemplate, I didn't, or pick up on the rest of it. But let him remember that the cessation of the form ensues when purpose is achieved. Is that alluding what, I mean, that is it. There is a lot there in that statement. Or when we fail, the cessation of the form ensues when impotency of will produces failure of functioning in the cycle of performance. This is like, if like we cannot drop the ball on ourselves, is how I see this, right? We have to stay the course
Mhm.
and never, and really can't sway. We cannot sway or deviate from the purpose, from our purpose. Because we risk at every, it seems like at every turn, we risk impotency of will. As
Mhm.
soon as, if we lose impotency of will, that what we've envisioned or what we've created is gonna fall off, right? Man, it's that motivation to really constantly be on top of ourselves in a very positive way, not just positive way, but focused way, and highly, I mean highly positive, I mean higher plane positive with the plan, right? We gotta really create, this is, it's so subtle, it seems too, because it's in every moment. Unbelievable. That is stout. I'm sorry, man. That just
No,
hit
no
me.
worries. I'm just wondering though, should we go back over these 3 rules? That whole section seems to have a lot packed into it.
Oh man, we could probably study that for a year. I mean,
Yeah, we could do a whole session just on that
let the creator know himself to be the builder.
and not the building.
And this is the inner side of this, right? Like we're
Mhm.
like, this is, we're doing this as the watcher. Right? Let him detest from dealing with the raw material. Yes. All right. So he says, let go of that. Let him study the pattern and blueprints, right? That makes sense.
Act as the agent of the divine mind.
And we see it that, wow, let him use 2 energies and work with 3 laws. What were the 3 laws? I didn't quite understand that one. I think there's a
So
lot.
let him use 2 energies and work with the 3 laws.
Oh, let these 3 laws hold sway. The one concerns the life, the second concerns the building, and the third produces manifested existence.
Yeah, so the law of synthetic limitation, of vibratory interplay, and of active precipitation. One concerns life, second concerns building. So the law of synthetic limitation concerns the life. The law of vibratory interplay concerns the building. And the law of active precipitation produces manifested existence. And then the 3 energies it mentions above, use the 2 energies and work with the 3 laws. So these are the dynamic energy of purpose conforming to the plan, and the magnetic energy of desire, drawing the builders to the center of endeavor. Let him deal first with the outer builders, sending his call to the periphery of his circle of influence.
Wow. Okay. This is a whole different. This is off of this. This is out of this world. Right. This is really inner work. This is the work. I mean, this is it, man. This is gigantic for us right here, for everybody right here. Let him project in time and space as form through visualization, meditation, and skill and action, and so produce that which his will commands, his love desires, and his need creates. So, and that goes to the fact that, we're all creating our own, life, and we don't know it. Right? We don't, and then inevitably we don't like it sometimes. And that creates anxiety and stress and all that. But this is the manifesting of how we're creating, our work and our part of the plan, right? The plan of God and will, and but in that we will also be creating this outer expression, right? So there's a lot of meditation work to be done here, and a lot of visualizing, and a lot of there's focus involved, but it's just so very subtle as to not letting this outer expression interfere with the inner workings. So easy to get distracted, right?
Yeah.
Let them withdraw the builders of the outer form. And this is a lot to do with letting go and thinking that you're doing it, right? We're not doing this. And let the inner builders of dynamic force push it forth into manifestation, right? It's going to happen. Let that happen. And then trust that your needs are going to be taken care of, and that, then work towards the bigger picture and make that our focus. Through the eye of the creator and these inner builders brought into functioning. Through the word of the creator, through the word of the creator were the outer builders guided. Through the ear of the creator, the volume of the greater word vibrates through the waters of space. Through the ear of the creator. Wow. That is abstract for most of us, I think. That's a huge, and I mean huge, that's an out there view, right? That's a big time, way out there view on this. The ear, the ear of the creator, the volume of the greater word vibrates through the water space. And I imagine that's how, obviously down here that things are vibrating through us. Let him remember the order of creative work. The waters of space respond to the word. The builders build. The cycle of performance succeeds and depends for its duration on the potency of the inner builders. So this is just a great, amazing interplay, right?
There's a lot there.
Yeah, I'll say that's like how this is coming together.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to go back and
Yeah, we could study this for
see what Michael Robbins had to say about it on the
oh yeah,
Federation
no doubt.
materials.
Good call on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
but definitely, you just like you said, we could probably spend quite a bit of time just on this.
yeah, that's a working into the whole functioning of this system. All right, we get a look into the divine mind. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that'll knock you back a little bit. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
All right, just backtrack a little bit here. So students would do well to study these cycles of creative building, of performance, and of subsequent disintegration. They are true solar system of a human being and of the thought forms of a creative thinker. The sequence, right?
Dude, man, I'm sorry. I can't help this. They're true of the solar system and of a human being. This is your life. This is your life as a thought form, right? And it's being vitalized. And let's just say that if we're not on track, right, let him remember that the cessation of the form ensues when our purpose is achieved or when impotency of will produces failure of functioning in the cycle of performance. So how this plays into not just the solar system, but our life and the thought forms of a creative thinker. So not just the solar system in our life, but what we're creating as we're going.
Mm-hmm.
This is just this working out. Wow. And now I undoubtedly we can see this in our life and us being the thought form of our life. We can certainly see how the things that we've managed to create and what we've wanted to do and whatnot, how that has come to fruition, right? Then we can get an aspect from the soul about how this life that's being lived here and this being this has, whether it's being successful or not, right? This life, but to have the view from the solar system of whether this system is successful or not. Sorry, that's
well, and we read earlier too that our solar system is only a part of the larger solar system of 7 or something like that. So it's just this giant expanse that we're just a piece of, and it all
wow.
we don't even We don't
Yeah.
even know the expanse of it. You
Right.
said
If
earlier,
that doesn't make you feel,
the masters don't even fully understand the expanse of it.
I mean, if that doesn't make you feel small, right? All right, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries.
When that come across, I was like, just yeah.
The stuff will make your head explode, in a good way. The secret of all beauty lies in the right functioning of these cycles. The secret of all success on the physical plane lies in right understanding of law and of order. For the aspirant, the goal of his endeavor is the correct building of forms and mental matter, remembering that as a man thinketh, so is he. That for him, the control of mental substance and its use in clear thinking is an essential to progress. This will demonstrate an organization of the outer life in creative work of some kind, a book written, a picture painted, a home functioning rhythmically, a business rung along sound and true lines, a life salvaged, and the outer dharma carried out with precision, whilst the inner adjustments proceed in the silence of the heart.
Wow, that's super deep, and Carla, she's always saying, there's a lot going on in the background.
Right.
There's a lot going on, and there's things happening that we don't know, and things are being put together and worked out, and we don't, yeah.
For the disciple, the work extends. For him, there has to be realization of the group plan and purpose, and not simply of his own individual spiritual problem. There has to be conformity to the purpose for his immediate cycle and life period, the subordinating of his personal dharma and ideas to the need and service of that cycle. For him, there has to be that attainment of knowledge, of strength, and of coordination between the personal self and the soul, which will result in ability to build organized forms and groups on the physical plane and to hold them coherently together. This he does not through the force of his own character and equipment, but because that character and equipment enable him to act as a transmitter of the greater life energies and to serve as an efficient cooperator with a plan of which he can only vision a fragment. He works, however, faithfully at the building of his aspect of the great plan, and finds one day, when the building is completed, he sees the whole, that he has built true to design and in conformity with the blueprints as they have been carried in the minds of the architects, the elder brothers, who in their turn are in touch with the mind of the one existence.
So reflection of a reflection of a reflection transmitted to us from them, received by them from the mind of the one existence. We get a portion of it. As soon as we can begin to hold steady and do that work, that's a great accomplishment, I would say, to get to that point where you can recognize what's being said here and follow that through. You're really doing something at that point.
Right.
That's life more abundantly in a way.
And you come into that realization that whatever small fragment it is that you're a part of it is quite critical in the balance of the entire thing.
Critical.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So
sure.
henceforth more why you said earlier that, you've got to stay the course. You can't allow yourself to deviate off that path. And if you find yourself veering in the wrong direction, you gotta correct yourself to get back to where you need to be headed.
And you can very easily render yourself useless.
Right. But with that, you can
render yourself.
You have an impact on the balance of the whole greater thing.
Yeah. Dang. There's that responsibility with knowledge thing, right?
Yeah.
We didn't finish that, did we?
Nope. The practical application of these truths is of utmost importance. There is no life so circumscribed, and no person so situated who cannot begin to work intelligently and to build thought forms under law and with understanding. There is no day in any man's life, particularly if he is an aspirant or a disciple, when a man cannot work in mental matter, control his use of thought, watch the effect of his mental processes on those he contacts, and so handle his chitta or mind stuff, as Pentageli calls it, that he becomes more and more useful. So that kind of just sums up what you and I just kind of said. That no matter how little you might think it seems, maintaining course on that path is important because it's useful in the greater good. So
that just puts puts a finger on you, man. Like what what does he say? Reminds me of the Bible when Paul meets Jesus on the road. He says something like, do my pricks hurt or whatever? Wait, you know what I'm talking about?
I know.
All right, let me tell you what.
You're the resident Bible guy.
I will. No, just keep going. I'm going to look this up.
Well, do we want to read on, or do we want to close it there? Because that closes out the thought form building section.
How big is this next part?
It's not very big, but it's where we get into the center's energies and rays. So there could be quite a bit of discussion in there, I'm sure, as well. So, and I think we've given ourselves and anybody watching this quite a bit to ponder just on the thought form building that we just walked through.
So Paul is on the road to Damascus, and he says, and when we had fallen to the ground, I heard a voice saying to me in Hebrew language, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And he says, it is hard for you to kick against the goads, but it basically means it's useless for you to fight against my will. Like it puts that on us, right? Like it's being put on us. Once you know this, that's all I meant by that. It's being put on us now. Oh man, honestly, this is such an amazing next part, and it doesn't seem like it's very long.
It's not. But we get into the rays.
Well, it's up to you. I'm game to do it if you are, but if you have business or whatever, and that's fine.
Let's see. Yeah, why don't you?
There's a lot of discussion in this, man. There is. It's beautiful too, and it's a whole study.
Right.
The rays. And the energy. Let's wait then, if you want. Then we can just take our time through this, I guess. And
yeah, because I think there's probably a lot to discuss in here, and I would like to go back, like I said, see what Michael Robbins has to say about some of the stuff we just read in this, because maybe there's something we can clarify there when we meet again.
That really sets the stage for where this is going.
Right.
It really is something else that is so deep. But then, as we progress into this, it's inevitably going to work on top of, it's going to work on top of each other. Results of practical value. So we're going to see the practical value of these centers and energies and rays. And I'm sure it'll start coming together for us too. Let's see what he talked, how deep, oh, he does talk about the rays. Here, and that is super telling. There's just so much in this. Yeah, I'm blown away a little bit by how that that came together there. Those phrases, the following aphoristic phrases, those were incredible.
Yeah.
Packed full of thought forms, should we say? Or mind stuff. I don't know. It's just so
Yeah.
much and so much in such a little space. It's definitely worthy of many contemplations there, I would say.
As I contemplate the rules behind effective thought form building, I think it's worth a study in and of itself.
Yeah. Okay. What do you got? We're gonna wrap it up there for the day.
Yeah, I think that's a good natural place to break. And then we
There's
can
so
pick
much
up on
to
this.
ponder on.
And then we pick up, yeah, we can open next week with maybe where we got with some of our pondering on this. But we can pick up in the centers, energies, and rays next week.
Such good reflection on our lives to see, the cycles that we had talked about, and then how it will demonstrate out in the outer life, in some creative work, right? A book
Right.
written, a picture painted, a home functioning rhythmically. It can take on so many expressions. It's really great, man.
Yeah.
And life salvaged once we start taking this turn. So very much, outer dharma carried out with precision. That is really powerful statement. And I think, the best example I think we have of seeing this is, in well, we can look at it in terms of those who have written these great books and, made beautiful, deep, high level or, elevated perspective paintings, right? That you can go into and see the depth. When you see a home functioning rhythmically, that's nice. A business running along sound and true lines, that's probably pretty rare. Although I think it's a great to aspire to that at this point, right?
Right.
Because that's so deep in itself, because that would allude to no selfishness being.
I was just going to say to name me a business that we can't see some, or at least some element of selfish.
I don't know
pursuit.
I mean, we're attempting this, right? This is being attempted. So we'll see what the outcome of that is with this thought form that's being built by a handful of us, right?
Right.
A life salvage, we can see life salvage, but dharma carried out with precision. That would allude to a very high, highly aware being, I think. And I just think of Carl when I think of that, carrying out your mission, with precision and discipline and order and level of perfection, sacrifice, unbelievable. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's always given us something to reflect on, for sure.
I like how it speaks to these in terms of doing some form of creative work. And that a life salvaged is creative.
Yeah, that is super creative, right? To make that turnaround.
Well, and you're essentially you, I guess, being
Like a
reborn.
phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rising
Yeah.
from the ashes.
Yeah.
It's
You
pretty.
turn it around.
It's just that there's more things creative than one might think. You're just getting your stuff together. There's a form of creative
getting
work.
your stuff right. Just pulling it together, right, man? That's creative work.
Yeah.
And the process, nobody says that process is quick and easy either. You don't hit the easy button on that. You know, that takes real creative work. And
But it makes sense just going back in terms of being the builder, not the building, right? So you're the creator. Makes sense.
not until, you know, but you know, as this being, as the creator, you have, this has to be done. It starts on the mental plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then works its way down into the astral and physical, right? So incredibly subtle to me, because I caught a glimpse for a second of how this should be going on, and this can be going on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
In our daily life. It needs to be held steady. This visions that, you know, are part of the plan. We should never be worrying about ourselves, essentially. Right? We have to let go of this.
Right.
And really focus on this stuff now, you know, on the planet. Not to, because this life has already been, this thought form is moving out, right? This is being done. This is happening. Our as we sit back, we're building the pieces in, right? Am I wrong about saying that in a sense?
Run that by me again.
But like, we're not building the bigger picture, so we don't have to worry about the bigger picture.
We're a part of the bigger picture.
We're part of the bigger picture. We don't have to worry about it. We are to focus on the plan as a disciple, you know, as a disciple, our thought, we should be focused on, you know, what we know to be true, our little part of it, and how to bring that around into the minds of men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And preparing their consciousness for these things, essentially. So we're preparing, you know, we're preparing the minds of men for higher consciousness or expansions, in a sense. Essentially, that's the work of the disciple, in a sense, right? I just see, I see this as a step back in, I guess. It's a step back in, and much more subtle, and focused than I want to say I have personally been. So this is great. You know, if you can, you know, while you're having conversations with your wife in the background, keep everything, you know, steady.
Well, I think it's really the application of everything that you do, or all conversations that you have, is kind of the goal, to be operating from here.
Yeah, set back, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's with your daily grind, what you do at work, is bringing it to that level where it's,
Well, you're of the world, you're of the world, but not in it.
right, and you're doing it for greater purpose than that of your own.
With the bigger picture always in being held
the background. Steady. Yeah.
And keeping that vitalized, and so that so that the will does not become impotent in that,
Mhm.
and you drop the ball. Yeah, very good, man. Very good, very beautiful. Very, very good direction. I like to see how this synthesizes. We'll see what happens and how this comes together through the week.
Right.
Good stuff. All right.
All right,
I will,
man. Call it a wrap.
I'm gonna call it a wrap there.
See-
Everybody see you next
See
week.
you next week.
Roger that.